Welcome to Corsello Cooks. Today I have with me my special assistant, Camila. Camila, can you say hello?
Hi.
And Camila, what are we cooking today?
Lasagna.
Lasagna. Do you like mommy's lasagna? Is it the best you've ever had? Yeah. Okay, cool. So the lasagna that we're gonna make today is lasagna that I had when we lived in Italy, and it's a little bit different than lasagna that I had had here, which uses ricotta cheese. And so when I lived in Rome, and when we lived in Rome, because that's where you were born, right, honey? Yeah. We had a lot of lasagna from our friends, and they used bechamel sauce and tomato sauce. And bechamel sauce is, it's simply a white cream sauce. And I like using it because it gives it a little more richer flavor. So that's what we're gonna do today. And Camila will be helping me. And lasagna for me and for our family is very much a comfort food, and we don't eat it all the time. And, but it's really nice to have when you have people over, and I love making it. So we're gonna do that now. You ready? Okay, so we're gonna make the tomato sauce. And I say tomato because the Italians call it tomato sauce. They don't call it a marinara sauce, but it's the same thing. So we're gonna take about 3 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil. So you just kind of coat the pan. And now I'm going to add 2 small cloves of garlic. If you have 1 clove, that's great. Something else that I learned in Italy is that, especially our Roman friends, they would not use a lot of garlic, which I think is kind of the misconception. And in fact, they would certainly tell us if we had too much garlic, because they would say, your breath is very smelly. So we're using garlic and not onions. So I'm gonna add this to the pan, just crushed garlic. If you have crushed garlic already, that's fine, or if you have garlic powder, it's fine too. So whatever you have. I like fresh because it just adds a better flavor. So Camila, do you want to stir this in for me? With this, what's your hand there? Okay, can you just stir that around and make sure? Yep, good job. So we're gonna let it fry for about 2 minutes. You don't want to burn the garlic. Okay, and then I'm gonna add the sauce. So Camila, I'm gonna ask you to step behind me here in case it splatters. I don't want you to get burned. And so I'm gonna add the sauce, or the tomatoes, which is exactly what happened. See? Always being cautious. And the tomatoes that I use, they are, they're San Marzano tomatoes, or Roma tomatoes as we call them here. And it's just a can. And then what I did was, they were whole tomatoes, so I took my hand blender and I blended up. And I'm actually gonna turn this down. So I had this on medium, and it's pretty high right now. So Camila, I'm gonna have you step over here just so you don't get burned. And I'm just gonna stir in, kind of incorporate the oil, the garlic, the tomato. And then I will add my spices. And the spices this is such a super simple sauce, and this is why I don't buy canned sauce, because it's so easy to make. So I'm gonna add to this one teaspoon of salt, and I use kosher salt, whatever salt you have. So this is 1 teaspoon. And we're gonna add some sugar, and the sugar is good. This is about 1 teaspoon of sugar. It's good to balance out the acid in the tomato, and I think it gives it a really nice flavor. So I'm gonna mix that in. And then the other spices that I'm going to add are fresh basil. So if you have dried basil, that's fine too, but we happen to have a basil plant right up here, so I'm just gonna grab some fresh basil. Wash it, of course. And I'm not even gonna cut it. I'm just gonna throw it into the sauce. So it's really easy. And then the last thing I'm going to add is some ground pepper, black pepper, to your taste. And then that's it. So you can cover it with a glass lid. I just cover it with this screen here. There's no reason why I do it. It's just what I'm used to. And so that's gonna cook for probably 10 minutes. And while that cooks, we're gonna make the bechamel sauce, which is a cream sauce. So Camila, I'd like you to help me here. We're gonna turn this on to medium. And you can use a small saucepan. So the bechamel sauce are equal parts flour and butter. So I'm making 1 cup of the sauce. So that is 2 tablespoons of butter, 2 tablespoons of flour, doesn't matter what kind of flour you use, and then a teaspoon of salt. So right now I'm gonna melt the butter and the flour so that it kind of incorporates together. So Camila, do you want to just like stir that in? And I'll take this can here. And it'll melt. And then I'm also going to add the salt. So 1 teaspoon of salt here. And then you add one, so when this comes together, melts together, you then add 1 cup of milk. Oh, don't touch the pan, honey. Here, you want to touch it? Touch it right here. Here, let's see. Can I see it a second? Okay, so we can let that melt just a little bit. Okay, so now this is all melted together. Camila, can you add in the milk? So this is 1 cup of milk.
All of it?
All of it, girl. Great job. Thank you. Perfect. So how about you give this a little stir? So you can stir it, we want to bring it to a boil, and as it comes to a boil, it's going to thicken up. So that's with the help of the flour. And I'm going to give this a stir while you're stirring this, so keep going. Does this smell good to you, Camille? Yeah. And I'm going to taste it because you can adjust the flavor if it needs more salt or some other spices, but it's perfect for me right now. You want me to try? You want me to take it? Okay. So what did you like about living in Italy? What do you remember?
That there's a Colosseum.
There's a Colosseum there, yes. So you're a lucky girl that you got to be born in Italy. Okay, now it is time to assemble the lasagna. I am having my assistant here again. Is this the fun part? Yeah, I thought so. So I use parchment paper. It makes for very easy cleanup. And I just line it on the bottom of the pan. And the other thing that I do, which is really cool, is I do not cook my noodles. I don't boil them. And you can do that for any noodle. You don't need to boil the lasagna noodles. And I think a lot of people are like, lasagna, because they have to boil the noodles and then they layer them in, but save yourself the step. And especially if you like al dente pasta, it's gonna be cooked and it's gonna be delicious. I get my noodles you can find them at Trader Joe's. They're actually non-boiled noodles, but like I said, you can do that with any lasagna noodle. So that'll save you a step. Okay, so now we're just gonna layer it. So Camila, this pan is hot. I'm gonna set it right here. And I actually think I'm gonna grab a different spoon. One that's a little bit easier for you to use. So, can you take a spoonful and just like pour it on the bottom here? So I put the sauces on the bottom. So it also helps to hold the paper down. So I put a little bit of sauce on the bottom. And then we do red sauce, and then I'm gonna do the bechamel sauce. And what I do is kind of mix it together. Sorry, honey, I'm just gonna sneak over here. I mix it in. Be careful when you, not to touch that pan, okay, sweetie? All right, now I'm gonna have you layer our noodles. So what we can do is go like this, and then we'll put them all the way back here because the pan isn't perfectly square or rectangle, and so there's some parts that need to be filled in. So what I do is these are pretty easy to break. So I just take one and put it right here, and then I put one here. So that's our first layer. So can you do another? Nope. Got it? Okay, that is perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do a layer. Another scoop of the bechamel. You wanna mix that together? And for lasagna too, this is just a tomato sauce, but if you want to add sausage or ground beef to it, or ground turkey, ground chicken, if you want to make it a meat lasagna, that's totally fine too. We do that a lot of times. And then we'll just sprinkle some cheese on there. I'm gonna have you get some more cheese, sweetie, here. And this is 16 ounces of mozzarella cheese. You can use fresh mozzarella. I'm using shredded because it's pretty easy for me. Sometimes, on a very special occasion, we'll use the fresh mozzarella. And we'll just sprinkle a little bit more in there. So that's our first layer. So now we'll do another layer. There you go. So let's move it so it's a little bit like this. See? Can you break it? Good job. I'm gonna do another one. I guess you could say this is kind of like Minecraft or Tetris, as I used to play, right? Would you say this is like Minecraft? Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe it's not really, but okay, that's good. And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Because what's the most important thing? Do you know?
Have fun.
Well, have fun and that it tastes good, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna give it the spoon, and can you mix it together for me? Perfect. Awesome. Let's do a little bit more sauce here. Okay. Okay, another layer. Here you go. Oh, you know what? Stop 1 second. I forgot the cheese. You want to put some cheese on? You can also use Parmesan cheese too, if you like that flavor. Sometimes we do. Okay. Want to do more? Here. Okay. Can you break this one for me? So I pretty much, I make as many layers as the ingredients that I have. So sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. Okay, there you go. Now let's get a little bit of sauce over here. You basically just want to cover the noodles. Okay, here. Can you add some cheese? Good job. You want one more scoop? Great job. I think we have enough for one more layer. So I think that we did, how many layers do you think we did?
3.
We did 3? Okay, so this is our 4th layer. Okay, here. Want to do it? I'm just going to move this over like that. There you go. Want a break? I'll put one of these right here. Okay, let's see. I think we could do one like that. Here, you'll put one right in there. And that'll be the last layer. Okay, great. Actually, I don't know, do you think we have enough? I think we have enough for another layer. Okay. So one box is 16 ounces, so it's a pound of pasta. I think that's probably what we're going to use for this big pan. Here, let's do a little bit more over here so it all gets covered. Does it smell good? Are you hungry? I am too. I'm so excited for dinner tonight. Okay, cheese. You're very good at the cheese, aren't you? I'm gonna put a little bit more there too. We're just gonna cover it like this. Sometimes if I'm making lasagna, with the kids, they sneak some cheese, so I have to be careful, right? Or pizza, when we make pizza. You and your brother take handfuls of cheese. Okay, so we have this. We have a few more here. Can you break this for me? And I'm going to break this one. Great break. It's almost like a wishbone, right? You know, which side do we get? The biggest side? Oh. Okay. That one there. This one here. There we go. And the great thing is, like, nobody's really going to know if their lasagna isn't perfect, right? Because how are they going to tell? We just cut it all in squares and... Okay, this is it. This is the last layer. Okay. Oh, did I get you? Sorry about that. Okay. Then this. Okay. Just scoop it all out, all out, all out, all out. Okay. While she's doing that, I'm gonna set my oven to 350. And we're gonna bake for 40 minutes, the lasagna. So we'll let that heat up. Okay. All right, girl. You wanna put the cheese on? Okay. You know what, let's just use the rest of the bag, I think. Okay, so now it's done, and we're gonna cover with foil. And I just tuck the paper in and there we go. And we're gonna bake for 40 minutes at 350. Okay, ready? Okay. Okay. So the last 5 minutes, I like to take the foil off so it gets a little bit crispy on the top. Okay. So now I'm going to take out the lasagna. Thank you, honey. And here we are. So here is the finished product, and I invite all of you at home to try to make this lasagna, and I just encourage you to know that it doesn't have to be perfect. And again, just like life, things aren't perfect, and the more we try things that might seem like a big task, the better we get at them. And cooking for me is a metaphor for life, because it doesn't have to be perfect, and just that I'm doing it and I'm present with it, and I get to do it with my family and my children, and you know, the finished product is that it's nourishing the people that I love. So I invite you to take on the lasagna. So I'm gonna cut this. And here is what's for dinner. Thank you for joining Corsello Cooks. And this is an episode where we cook lasagna. Thank you, Camila, for your help. Did you have fun? Thank you.